The basic position starts like this. Curl back your lower 3 fingers into the palm of your hand. Be careful not to curl it round with your fingernails dug into your palm. Just rest it with the fingernails on the palm and make a shape like a child pretending to shoot a gun. Then we bring up the arrow and the thumb goes under the arrow with the forefinger coming down there, just pushing the arrow in towards the bow. Don't make a fist like this. This is too tense. Just keep your forefinger pointing down to the ground at 45 degrees, keeping it as relaxed as you can, but without it actually falling off the string. When it comes to drawing the bow, as I said before, you want your forefinger pointed gently down towards the ground at 45 degrees. You don't want to create a sort of claw like this. Keep it pointed forward slightly, and then your wrist needs to form a nice relaxed line along your wrist and to your elbow. You want to avoid using muscle power to hold your wrist up like this. Just keep it loose so that the string is hanging from your thumb and that your wrist is hanging from your forearm in a nice and relaxed position. A lot of Asian archery is done using a thumb ring. You don't have to. It's perfectly all right to shoot without one. The main help that a thumb ring gives you is that it stops your thumb getting sore after shooting a lot, and it sometimes can make the release a little bit smoother. This sort of thumb ring has been used in ancient times in China, but not so recently. This is made out of water buffalo horn. The hole in this thumb ring is oval, it's not a circle, and there's a reason for that. When I put it on my thumb, I can slip it on this way very smoothly, turn it around 90 degrees, and it won't come off because it's caught here by the bone of my thumb. When we use the thumb ring with the thumb draw, the string wants to be just behind the lip of the ring, the thumb is under the arrow, and we place the finger over at 45 degrees again. Now here's a little secret. A lot of the time people get discomfort because when they load the bow fast, they get the flesh of their thumb crushed by the string behind the thumb ring. To stop this, whenever you put your thumb on, just get the ring slid up high on the thumb, then set the string behind it and allow the pull on your thumb to draw the ring back down your thumb again. That way you won't risk getting a pinch from the string. When you're preparing to draw, you want to hold your bow hand so that the grip of the bow is held comfortably between the thumb and the forefinger at the web of the thumb, with the finger coming and wrapping round and your thumb covering the nail here of your forefinger like this. What we'd want to do when we rest the arrow on the bow hand is to create a little V shape between the thumb and the forefinger, just to the side of the bow grip. Then, as we're drawing the arrow is going to be drawn along that V shape rather than right against the bow. And it certainly won't pass over the knuckle of the thumb where the arrow can cut your thumb as the arrow flies off towards the target. Chinese archery manuals refer to 5 elements level. The 5 elements are the web of the thumb through the wrist, the elbow, the shoulders, and the draw hand shoulder being level. That allows the weight of the bow to be carried suspended on the joints rather than having to use muscle power to pull the bow in a certain direction. When we talked about locking the arrow, I talked about how you held your hand and you want to try and keep that forefinger pointed gently at the ground at about 45 degrees and avoid creating a claw like this. The second point is that there should be a nice, relaxed, straight line from my wrist through to my elbow. I don't want to have the wrist raised up like this. I just want to keep everything in a straight line so that the string is hanging from my thumb, secured by this forefinger, and my wrist is hanging from my forearm without any use of muscle power to hold it up. The body position for Chinese archery is based on the position that you would be if you were actually riding a horse. In Chinese martial arts, it's called the horse position. Your feet are pointing forward, not splayed, and your knees are very slightly bent, not locked. Don't make a great big V position like this. Just keep your feet at a comfortable distance, a little bit wider than the distance of your shoulder, and imagine that you were sitting on horseback so that the weight of your body is on the ball of your foot, just as it would be on the stirrups if you were riding. Your hips are slightly down, and just like riding a horse, it's very, very important that there's a straight line of balance from your shoulders through to the ground. When you shoot, you should not lean too far forward, you should not lean too far back, or you shouldn't move from side to side. Because if you're riding a horse, the horse is going to react to any of those actions. Even though you are only practicing archery on foot, you should keep in your mind the theory that whatever you're doing should also be just the same if you're up on the back of a horse. So to wrap up, what we're looking for at the pre-draw is a straight line through the web of the thumb, the wrist, the elbow joint pointing up, and this shoulder. That line will continue through the left shoulder and back to the elbow, so that the joints of the body are carrying all the weight of the bow rather than using any muscle power trying to pull or push the bow in a certain direction. The correct arm position needs to have the elbow joint pointing upwards. You don't want to have the elbow joint pointing sideways like this. Get it pointing upwards. As you draw, it will automatically twist over a little bit, and that's fine. The next point is not to let your shoulder rise up with tension, but to try and keep your shoulder well down. So you have to concentrate as you draw, in drawing, so that your shoulder is down and your elbow joint is nice and relaxed. After knocking the arrow, we start off in a relatively relaxed position like this, with the finger pointing at 45 degrees to the ground and the arrow pointing down. Of course, you want to be quite sure that your target range is safe, and then you're ready to take the first action, which is to raise the bow above the level of your shoulders while breathing in like this. Avoid tilting the bow upwards. That's bad manners and bad style. Ideally, the bow wants to be held with the arrow almost exactly parallel to the ground. The second movement is that we want to bring the bow down in a nice smooth movement while moving the air from the top of our chest down into my tummy and drawing the bow back until the arrow is at a straight line at shoulder level, like this. Chinese archery uses diaphragm breathing. That means that when you draw the breath in, you draw it high up here in the chest, but then you drop the air down into the lower abdomen, which means that your tummy will stick out. And finally, when you release, like pricking a balloon, it'll come out again. Let me show you how these things work together with drawing the bow. We start with the bow down, and as I raise the bow, I draw the breath into the upper chest. As I draw down, I let the breath and the air drop into my lower abdomen. And then as I release, I breathe out.